folks, it's a gorgeous day again here. Really nice weather today. It's in the 70s, believe it or not. And I'm just going to do some really quick and dirty repotting and chat with you a little bit because I'm getting excited. We're gonna go to Costa Rica and you're gonna start to see some more videos on our trip to Costa Rica. I don't really know how much we're gonna be able to film there. So I just wanna make these short and sweet so that we could concentrate on having a good time with our botanical tours in Costa Rica and just finish up some of the projects that we were doing here. You'll see this gorgeous prostrate rosemary that we have here. So this is a type of cultivated variety of rosemary that grows along the ground or down stone fronts. And this is a Mediterranean plant, as many of you probably know. And many of you actually may grow this outdoors or in your home, depending on the climate that you're in. So it's funny because whenever I went to San Francisco, which is now a while ago, honestly, I haven't been back to San Francisco in a long while, but it was always uncanny to me to see they must have like that perfect weather. They were growing, folks were growing rosemary as like shrubs or hedges, like my box hedges around here. They would be growing rosemary like hedges, and you'd brush up against it and it smells so beautiful. Of course, it's a great culinary herb as well. And unfortunately, this is not cold hardy enough in our area. So this was growing in our gazebo community garden area. And I had one last year and I let it basically clamber on the stones. It never got this big. It never got this big and beautiful. I just left it out there and I never uprooted it and put it in a pot, and it just died. So basically 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is roughly around negative 12 degrees Celsius for all those who use Celsius, it can't handle it. So I said, this is too beautiful of a specimen for me to waste. So I had already repotted it up, but I did not realize how well rooted it was going to be in the garden itself. So I'm just gonna quickly chat with you, pull the roots out, put this in a new pot because it needs to be repotted. You know, I think we're cruising into heading to Costa Rica soon, so it's not going to be I'm not like in total crunch time. I still have to pack and everything along those lines, but you know, there's always more things to do at the homestead, but this is just one of the ones that I wanted to focus on. So yeah, this rosemary, I kind of just crunched it into this little pot. It was kind of my hope that I could keep it down in the meadow house and in the kitchen area, and I could cut on it because I love using it for cooking. Rosemary is so great in cooking. I just absolutely love the smell. But you can see the root structure. There are some longer roots in here as well, but it was just too crunched in that small pruning pottery. I'm just gonna give it a little bit more height here. And I mean, look at that, isn't that so beautiful? And it's blooming now too. So this was formerly called Rosmarinus officinalis, but I guess it's been looked at for all the floral parts, and it's now salvia. It's in the same genus as sage. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure when that actually happened. I haven't been following up with all the latest and greatest of reclassifying rosemary. But yeah, it's Salvia rosmarinus now. It's a Mediterranean plant, so it doesn't like to have wet roots. It likes to be really dry. So probably putting it in a terracotta pot versus something that is glazed is better for it, especially if you overwater your plants. The way that I describe it is it's very hard to overwater your plants because if you have the right kind of potting medium, then chances are you're not going to be able to overwater them. So if you water your plants too much, let's say, well then maybe you should put like more perlite or vermiculite in it to help with the drainage, for example. So I'm not planning to water this all that much. I'm gonna water this in, and then from there, I will repot this come spring. I'll take it outside as soon as it gets warm enough, and I'll probably plant it right back into its own space. And it's just one of those things like pelargoniums around here, which are commonly called geraniums. I had a Pelargonium pseudoides that is a beautiful herb, a beautiful plant horticulturally. It's a plant from South Africa, and I just forget every year to bring that in. And I didn't plant it this year, but it's one of those plants where I need to just constantly bring it in. Once I get a greenhouse here, it's gonna be a lot easier, let me tell you. But for right now, not so easy. I'm gonna add a little bit of bonsai mix on the top as well. I like to do that. There's something about protecting the potting medium on the top from like too much sun and getting too dried out. So I'm gonna do this and I'm just gonna water this in. And I have a completely unrelated plant that I'm going to plant up next. I'll tell you, I go on, these plant tours sometimes at a greenhouse or at a botanical garden, and I see a plant, and it may be like the second or third time. It's the first time that I've heard of the plant, and then I'm like, I think I would like to try that plant out. Anyway, so here's the rosemary. I want to be able to show you this. It's really heavy actually in this terracotta pot. So the second one I have, totally unrelated, completely different part of the world that it's from. This is Dichorasandra thriceiflora, I think it is. And so this is in the same family as Tradescantia. And the last time I saw this plant, almost looks like a ginger, so it's called blue ginger. Oh, this one says it's Dichorasandra pendula, so sorry, I misspoke. This is a weeping blue ginger. I got this from Logi's. So the one that I'm thinking of, the regular blue ginger that's not weeping, is Dichorasandra, also same genus. And I saw it first at Fairchild Botanic Gardens because they had a bunch of gingers growing, although this is not in the ginger family. It just looks ginger-esque. And I've been loving ginger lately, the subtropical, tropical gingers. I even have a cold hardy one called Miyoga ginger that we grow outside. You don't eat the root, but it has an edible flower. A lot of folks, like in Japanese culture, will use it, they'll pickle it, so it'll be kind of like a bit of a delicacy. So this is not a ginger, but it has a ginger look. And the last time I saw this, I saw it first at Fairchild, and then the last time we saw this was at the New York Botanic Gardens tour that we did with Mark, who was just phenomenal. I keep on looking at this, it almost looks like a Tradescantia.
You are correct, that is the same family. This is Dichorasandra pendula, a member of the spiderwort family.
Yeah.
So very identifiable with those beautiful 3 petals there, a wonderful shade of blue. And this plant sometimes gets a misnomer of blue ginger. And they're not members of the ginger family, even though they resemble them superficially.
Right, but you almost can't tell if it was not in flower. You would think it would be a ginger.
But the flowers give it away, in which you can definitely tell that this is a member of the spiderwort family.
For sure.
And even grows well as a houseplant.
Never saw the flower in Fairchild Botanic Gardens. And then I saw the flower at the New York Botanic Gardens, and I was like, oh, that looks like a Tradescantia. And he's like, actually, it's in the same family, but it just looks like a ginger, and they call it blue ginger for short. So I'm just going to plant this up. I'm gonna give it a bigger planter. Logi's has them in, kind of 3-inch planters. And this one is initially from Brazil. It wants a much more tropical environment. And you can see this is great. I mean, look at the nodules. They're almost like these really big kind of tubers down below. I could probably put a little bit more. After our Costa Rica trip, I need to spend some time on some larger projects outside of YouTube. I've been doing plant winotomy now for almost, it's either I think we're going on our 8th year or it's going to be the 7th year. I can't even remember anymore. I think it's probably going to be the 8th year. And I'd love to hear from you. What do you like the best about the channel and whatnot? And as you know, I'm kind of shooting stuff for plant winotomy, and also now for Flock, which is doing more outdoor gardening and landscaping. We do renovations, all sorts of kinds of things. And I need to actually focus on some of my other core work and projects as well that I do professionally. So it'll be interesting to see where to take this, but I might actually film a little less than typical for plant winotomy and for Flock as well. So it'll be interesting to see which stuff you like the best. And I also want to focus on building a greenhouse at some point. And then that way it gives me the opportunity to really grow all my plants, especially when we're doing like renovations here. It's really, really challenging. So, I try not to buy as many plants any longer or have as much of my plants in a construction zone, but sometimes it's challenging. I'm gonna love to see how this grows and if I could get it to flower. I think, now that it's late fall, I'm not gonna fertilize this, but as soon as spring comes around, I'll be fertilizing this. And I might actually grow this in the bird aviary, the bird coop, that I call it the chicken coop, but really it's my diamond doves that are living there. But I'm gonna water this in. This one likes a bit more humidity and water, if I had to compare these two. But there you go, there's my 2 plants, my beautiful rosemary, which smells so good, and I see all the little bees that are trying to fly around it because they're looking for whatever little last flowers they can have of the year. And this gorgeous blue weeping ginger, Diachosandra pendula. Anyway, I will see you in the next episode. And like I said, the next episodes will probably be in Costa Rica, so it'll be exciting. Haven't been back there in a while, but we'll be doing some botanical tours there, see how those go, and may offer some more of those in 2025. So stay tuned for that, because I think it'll be pretty fun to go on vacation together and see some plants, kind of Plant One On Me style. So anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Stay tuned on Plant One On Me for more botanical tours, talks, and how-tos. And if you're looking to further your knowledge on the plant kingdom, then have a look at our various online courses from Troubleshoot Your Houseplants to the Houseplant Masterclass. Additionally, we have a second channel we started last year called Flock Finger Lakes, where we cover more on outdoor gardening, habitat restoration, agroforestry, and even more. So check that out if that interests you. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next episode.